Okay, so before I was showing you guys some how you can use Git and connect with GitHub, but suppose that you want to just have a local Git repository and keep track of your own changes. And this is really useful for classes that you're going to be writing a lot of code for. And this class is also, it's really helpful for that, like if you're just doing a homework assignment and you want to test it. So, in this case, right now I'm in my RTOS folder like I was before, but I'm going to go ahead and cd out of there. And I've got this. So let's go ahead and make a new directory. Make directory more code. That sounds fun. And then let's take some of the things that I have in my RTOS folder. So I'm going to copy RTOS lab 2, and then this is really cool about Linux. If you type star, it's a wildcard. So it'll take anything that's, say, .c, for instance. And I'm going to go ahead and do this, like ls, so we can see all those files. And I want to list them, ls-l. So you can see that it's only going to pick .c files. So now let's copy these .c files. So copy RTOS .c, and then let's move them into more code. So now if I ls, I'm going to go ahead and do -l and then more code, it'll show us all of those .c files. So let's go ahead and get my .h files as well. Suppose I was actually doing something important with it. Now, if I cd into my more code and I do git status, there is no repository here. But what if I want to have a git repository here? So what do? I can just go to my handy dandy git help feature. And you notice over here they have one set for init. Create an empty git repository or reinitialize an existing one. So let's do that. Git init. Initialize empty git repository here. So ls. And now let's do git status. It says that I have all of these files over here that have not been added to my list. So I'm on my initial commit. So let's go ahead and commit these, or let's add them as we were doing before. So git add. And then now, just like before, I can do a wildcard .c to get all of those files, the just .c one, so git status. And then now you see that I have just the .c files, and I can commit saying, oh, I just want to commit the .c files. But let's go ahead and add everything. So now I can just do git add, and then I could do a dot. Dot basically, if you look at your directory system, ls-la just lists all. You can see that a dot generally means hidden when you have a folder in front of it. So it would be like if I go over to here and come on, open up. There we go. Git more code. You can see that I don't have a .git folder here. However, if I do show hidden files and folders, dot gets shown. Dot just for regular folders, it means hidden folder. But other than that, dot means go your parent directory, and dot means your current directory. So if you see things like // for running a an executable, all that means is in the current directory, execute this thing. So when I do the git add dot, it says add everything in this current directory. I could have also done git add star. It would have done the same thing. So, except it also would have added, no, it would have done the same thing. So let's ls git status, and now you see that all these files are here. So I want to show you guys something cool. We'll cd dot to go to the parent directory. Shows that there's no changes. If I do git status, of course there's no changes here. I can go in to get my RTOS2, git status. There are no changes. This code is not linked or anything, which makes sense. You want the code to be separate. So let's go back over to our more code, git status. These things are still here, so let's go ahead and do our commit. Git commit -m for message, and then the commit. So I added all the basic files. Go ahead and do this before I changed anything. Okay. I probably should have also mentioned that I copied those files over from the other repository. It's good to just keep track of like what you've done, why you've done it, and how you've done it. So, now if I do my git status, you see that there are no changes. Of course, we can go back over to our git GUI, for instance, and still do the same thing. So in this case, it's got my RTOS lab 2, so let's go ahead and load up my more code directory. Suppose I want to do that. Of course, this isn't linked with my GitHub repository, so if I do this, you can see I'm only on one revision. So let's make some changes. And this time, I am actually going to use, instead of using Sublime like I was doing before, I'm going to show you guys why Vim is awesome. Vim, you can use from command line like this, Vim and then the file name that you want to run. So, in this case, retarget.c, and it'll open it. I'm going to go ahead and close that. Or you can just type Vim, and it'll open the same thing over here. And then you can open files manually. But let's do it from the Vim GUI right now. I am going to go ahead and set a few things that make it a little bit easier. So we can go over to our tools. What do we have over here? It's been a while since I've used this GUI. So in our tools, file settings, we can set the line numbering, so it'll show us what line we're on. We can tell it to wrap at the end of the line, toggle list mode, shift width. This is nice. I like having my setting my tab stops to like 4, for instance. So like right now, suppose I'm in this file and I hit tab. That's a huge amount. So I'm gonna go ahead and write some stuff over here. So it's like, suppose I have this function, int foo void, or I'm not gonna put anything in that. And then this part down here, normally in C you would write like int dummy, and then return dummy. And you see how every time I do this, I have to like automatically do those tabs, and then that'll be this function. So saving, I would just click that. So what our tab stop does is if I set this to 4, okay, I'm going to set it manually. So this time I went into escape mode. So there's 2 modes in Vim. There's command mode and there is edit mode or insert mode. The way that you get to command mode is you just hit escape, and you notice how there's nothing written down here? It means that I'm in command mode. So in command mode, I just hit a colon saying I want to type in a an identifier command, so set ts for tab stop equal to 4. And then now you see that my tabs are now 4 spaces. And suppose I want to set auto indent, set AI. So now if I hit enter, instead of, it'll just go directly to the next line instead. And you can keep doing these things and set your other commands likewise. And then, of course, if you open up C files, you'll get highlighting and other cool stuff. So in our color scheme, I prefer color scheme Ron. It's just, it looks cooler to me and I feel like a programmer. And what else do we have in our file settings? C indenting, shift width, tab stop, other key points. And then you can also replace tabs with spaces. But my favorite thing about Vim, the reason that people like programming in Vim is you should never have to touch the mouse to program in Vim, because that is too much effort, because you have to move your hand from here to your mouse. So if you're doing that, you're wasting motion, meaning you're wasting time you should be programming. So in Vim, that's why they have the escape mode for going into commands. And commands, for instance, like say I want to select this. If you were doing this in a normal text editor, you would select this line, you would highlight it, and you would highlight all the lines, and you would change stuff. Well, in Vim, say for instance, I have these 2 values over here I call dummy. Well, if I'm in escape mode, V will let me select a set of chunks, like that. And then I can go back into insert mode and then change and do whatever I want. Or, if I hit Control V, I now can access the whole block. So say I want to just delete the D. Control V lets me select it, and then I no longer have that. I accidentally hit delete twice, so it double deleted. And then you hit U to undo when you're in command mode. And what if I wanted to add stuff before? Well, if you want to enter insert mode, the way you normally do it is, like, say I'm here. I will let you start typing before the, this little list thing here. But if you type an A to go into append mode, you notice that it says that we're still in insert, which means we're typing. Now it's writing after everything. And even more cool, suppose I'm over here at dummy, but I want to write something at the start. If I do Shift I, it brings it to the start of this thing, or if I do Shift A, it brings it to the end, and you can type. Using that, you can start to combine commands in Vim. So Control V, and now I can Shift I, and I can say, add dummy, and then hit escape to go into command mode, and it'll add it to both. And this is great when you're writing things like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you have a big, massive list, and you want to just go through all of these real fast and say, my var 1 through 9. And then you can also do macros and other stuff in Vim to help automate those things. So, I'm going to go ahead and delete all these lines. And another cool thing about Vim, if you delete something, by default, it's saved into your buffer for pasting. So, if I hit delete on this line, like suppose I escape Shift V to select the line and then delete, and then I hit P for paste, it'll paste it automatically, even though I've already deleted it. So I don't have to just undo, I can move something around. So let me go ahead and undo that real fast. W, or just hit U twice, I mean. Before I hit Shift V and then delete, that is just my personal preference. You can also just press D for delete, and then D again for the line. And if I hit P, it'll paste after. If I hit Shift P, it'll paste before. I'm going to go ahead and hit P there. So that is Vim in a nutshell, and why it's super cool. You never really have to go and click around and using your mouse. I will do another Vim tutorial just to show why it's awesome, but this is just what I wanted to cover here really fast. So I've got this value, and let's go back over here and let's go ahead and change some stuff. I'm not going to save this one real fast. I'm just going to leave it as is. Get more code, and let's change something over here. So our os.c, ignore our changes to untitled. So you can see here, I have a lot of code and comments, and it's commented according to and colored according to the C standard. So now I can come over here and I can start playing around with stuff, writing my own functions, shifting between it, and like say I want to search for something. If I want to go to a line, a specific line, like say line 41, I just go to escape mode or command mode, and I just type the number of the line I want to go to, 41. It'll take me directly there. Or how about 100? I don't have a line 100, so it doesn't take there. And see how these brackets are connected? Well, if I do the % sign, I can jump between the brackets. So now I'm over here, and you can make sure that all your brackets are aligned. All of these little things are cool. And suppose that there's an area of code that you keep going to and you want to mark it and use it later. So right here, for instance, I'm going to keep using this function. I can type M for mark, and then I'm going to give it a value. I'm going to mark it with my letter key L. So now, if I'm in escape mode and I type, let me try to remember this. It should be quote and then that value. No, mark not set. Okay, let me reset this real quick. Suppose I'm over here, I hit mark, and then I'm gonna hit H this time, just saying I'm gonna mark that one. Now if I do the apostrophe symbol and H, it'll automatically jump there. So I can have another one. Say I want to mark this one, and I'm going to be jumping. Actually, no, let me go all the way up to 0 real fast. Say I keep having to write stuff up here, and this is where I'm declaring some variables. I'm going to mark this as A. So now let's jump to H, jump to A, jump to H, jump to A, jump to H, jump to A. And then you can keep moving stuff around. Like here's another one. I want to mark this as S, for instance. I can jump to A, jump to M, or sorry, don't have an M, jump to H, jump to S. And then you can quickly modify your code. You don't have to worry about like searching through it and trying to find the thing, or doing control like find. Now there's one other thing about Vim That is a little bit annoying at first, but you get used to it really quickly. You can save files by coming up here and doing save all files. You can select a different one from the buffer. But suppose that you are stuck at command line and you have to do it. Like, say I'm over here in this terminal and I've vim my retarget.c. Well, to exit, you have to be in command mode. You do colon and then a Q to quit. So that'll quit. Or suppose I made changes, I can hit W, which will write the changes. And then you can combine these things. WQ to write quit. It's a little annoying at first, but you get used to it fast. And then, I don't know, now I have trouble sometimes when I work in Word documents, like if I'm doing a report, because I will, instead of doing Control S, I'll do escape colon W, and it will show up in my document. And then I have to go through and actually search for those. But that is an intro to Vim and then Git as a local repository rather than a remote server. And then, of course, if you need to, you can actually take that Git repository and make it a remote one on your GitHub. You just have to link it. But I'll cover that in a different tutorial. For this one, I just wanted to cover Vim mostly and why it's awesome.